ahead and call the Bedford City Council meeting to order for December 3rd. We'll rise for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, has council had a chance to look over the meeting minutes from November 19th? All right, if so, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from November 19th.
Second it.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Any additional items for this evening's agenda? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
We approve the agenda.
Second it.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Guests in open forum. Anyone for guests in open forum? Seeing no one, we'll move on to committee reports. Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance, we went over the October financials. The expenses are still running slightly lower than projected for the year as overall as a city. And then just a note too that we'll be receiving our second half property tax settlement here in December. So when you look at the numbers, they'll actually start to sync up, even though it's the end of the year. That's pretty much it.
All right, Police Committee.
Muzzle, we're right on the Police
Well,
Committee.
Rick, are you it for everything?
Except for golf.
Oh, here.
Again, don't
Nope.
have my book.
Got to share a little bit. All right, well, words
it
by
away.
Rick. So Police Committee met a couple Fridays ago. We talked about staffing update. We did have an officer who is going to be he was one of our part-timers, is going to be accepting a full-time position with another police department, so he'll be leaving soon. So we'll be looking to fill his position there. We had an update on our other part-timers that are in training right now, and when they get done with their training, then they'll be able to be out on their own there. It's getting close there. We had some discussion on the 2020 squad car purchase, which is on our agenda tonight. We had just some kind of call them beginning discussions, automated license plate readers and drones. And so if you remember back when we first started talking about body cameras, for instance, that was something that we had discussed for quite a while before that. And so probably a year or more that we had actually discussed it at Police Committee before it ever came to council or anything. So we just started having kind of some beginning discussions on that. Definitely some spirited discussions and difference of opinion, things like that. But so definitely, more to come on that. Don't look for anything in the agenda anytime soon. But just had some discussions there. We talked about stats. Stats continuing to run slightly above last year. And final, our state aid came in a little bit above what we expected. It's one of those things. It's a black hole. We never really know what our state police aid is going to come in at. You just you get a number at towards the end of the year, and you can guess what that number is going to be, but there's no way of knowing. Oh, it's going to be up or down this year. It's just there's your number. So we budget for conservatively, of course, every year, and then this last year it came in $14,000 more than we expected. So that's what we got. So we can keep rolling right along here. Planning Commission items. The main items for discussion there, we had items A and D are both up for or on our agenda here tonight. So we'll save discussion for that. I'll just do joint planning. You going to go for it? Okay, so joint planning. Our main item there was we had a variance. It was for a residence garage. It was a variance, so they wanted to go closer to the property line. There are specific set of criteria that you do have to meet in order to do a variance, and in the opinion of both the town planning commission and joint planning, we didn't feel that they met that criteria, so that was variance was denied. And yeah, that's all I got.
Golf.
Golf, we met on November 26th. We went over the financials. Everything's looking really good. We talked about the restaurant expansion. They kind of want to knock some walls down, make the bar area bigger. That'll be coming in front of us shortly. The new menu is up and running. They had a huge event with the turkey bingo, and they had, I think, over 100 and some people. They got it figured out how we're going to serve food now, so they were a little worried about how to serve food with that many people. They kind of do where they go to the, nobody's going to come to your table and ask you for, if you want a cheeseburger, you're going to go get it, kind of like the Zorbaz model we were talking about for these big events. We talked about the maintenance projects, the pond. They're still out there doing that. And that was about it.
Trying to get the pond done trying to get it done this year, but they don't have, weather, they don't have all the numbers yet. So.
That's the one that they want to make bigger, so the.
No, it's the one to seal it.
Seal it?
Bring the clay in.
Oh,
The clay is washed out in spots, and so the water drains out of it.
That was it.
All right, any other committee?
Oh, sorry. I'm not done yet. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that was at the tree lighting, everybody that volunteered, and that was there. That was a great turnout. It was fun to be there, so. That was
Yes,
cool.
well done, Mayor.
Yes. So, thank you.
Thanks. Staff is the one that
Yep.
made it look good, so.
Mr. and Mrs. Claus showed up. Everybody was kind of real shocked at that, and I didn't know anything about that either, so that was kind of
Very Hallmark moment.
a homework
Loved
moment, I
it.
guess.
It was. Perfect.
So thank you.
All right, anything else? If not, we will roll into our main production this evening, Truth and Taxation for the 2020 budget presentation. Woohoo! A little jazz hands.
What a fun time. Can you believe we're at this point again? So tonight we're going to go through our final budget and levy, and along with the truth and taxation and all that good stuff. So I wanted to start out with our budget calendar. As you all know, we've got quite a robust process for preparing our budget. It started back in March, and we started with CIP, and each department did a thorough review, and we have a complete CIP budget, and then we went through all of the operational budgets. We met several times to go through those budgets. And then that brings us to September, when we did our preliminary levy. And then, of course, October, we went through the enterprise fund budgets. And so now we are at December 3rd, and we're at our truth and taxation and adoption of our 2020 budget. Our core values, quickly, we can go through these. We've got our leadership, our excellence, trust, innovation, collaboration, stewardship, transparency, professionalism, accountability. All of these we, as staff, follow, and I know as council members, those are core values that you also go by and want us to strive to do. On the agenda tonight, we'll have the final presentation of our 2020 budget. If you have any comments or questions, we'll do those, and then if the public has any comments or questions, we'll go through that, and then adoption of our 2020 budget and levy. All right, so an overview. The general fund budget, we have an increase of 7.2%, so our general fund budget is $3,963,113. And below are the breakouts of the general government, which includes the city council, administrator, city clerk, finance, professional services, and planning. And then our public safety budget, which encompasses police and fire relief and building inspections. And then our public services, which is the general fund portion, which includes our public works, our streets department, and parks. And so all of those are summarized for you on this slide. And in the packet, it's various pages within the budget book. Special revenue fund budgets include our community center, which has an increase of 2.6%. Our fire has an increase of 3.8%. Economic development has a 43.9% increase. And our golf, it has an increase of 2.8%, but I want to note that the proposed levy amount for Pebble Creek is 24.8% less than the 19 levy. Our debt service fund levies, just an increase from 901,000 in 2019 to almost 907,000 in 2020. And our capital levies, we increased from 1.59 to 1.69 million. So our general fund revenues, of course, our revenues are mostly from our taxes, as always is the case, and then we also have different things like licenses and permits, intergovernmental charges for other services, and different other revenues, but the majority of it, as you can see, is from our taxes. And this is just another pie chart to show that 90% of our revenues come from the tax, from taxes. Our expenditures are split. General government has the majority, or most of it, at 37%, but then it goes into public safety, public works, and then the park and rec is at 6%. And here's just another bar chart with the split between general government, public safety, public works, parks and rec. So our capital funding, we've got 90,000 going to our admin, EDA and planning, the 52,000 for police, the 1 million for public works and streets, parks at 127,000, community center at 178,000, 91,000 for land purchases, which covers that assessment money that goes to the shovel-ready lots. So we are budgeting this year for that. And then the golf course is 125 for the CIP, and that brings us to the 1.691. So some of the projects that we're looking at are the accounting software, the surveillance camera security system, GIS, new squad car, portable radios, street sweeper, the Parkview Drive and cul-de-sacs, and the rock wall room remodel are just some of the projects that are slated for next year. Water, and so our utility enterprise funds, water, domestic sewer, and industrial sewer, we've got the 2% rate increase on the water and the domestic sewer charges, and that's per the 2016 rate study. No change in the meter fee. Just as a note, testing fees by the state are required to go up. So I think they're at 53 cents on the bill right now. They'll go up to 81 cents, and that is beyond our control. That's just something that the state requires us to turn in quarterly. There will be an increase, yep, and that's where, sorry, there's an increase in there. And so it's 81 cents per billing cycle. And there has not been an increase in those testing fees since 2005, just for a note. So the 2020 projected revenues are at, for the water budget, are $639,800, which is an increase of 3.4%. The expenditures are $934,415, which is a decrease of 15.6%. That includes depreciation and the capital outlay. So your net loss, including those, is the $294,615, but we're getting close to that cash neutral if you add back depreciation. So I just kind of wanted to note that. In the domestic sewer, projected revenues are $749,523, which is an increase of 2.2%, and the expenses are projected to be $1,645,052, which is an increase of 16.9%, and of course that includes the depreciation and the capital outlay, which gives us a net loss of $895,529. But of course, adding that depreciation, that lowers that. And then our industrial sewer projected revenue is $687,920, which is an increase of 2.3%, and the projected expenses of 1.2 million, which is an increase of 12.3%, and of course, that includes the depreciation and capital outlay, which gives us a net loss of $495,166. Some of the capital projects for the utility funds, the water, we have well exploration, an F-350 Ford truck with plow, and the SCADA upgrades and enhancements. Domestic sewer, a lot of this is split with the industrial, so the biofilter, admin garage, MAU, those are split with the industrial, and then truck and service with service body, domestic clarifier 2, and then the lift station, and then domestic, how do you pronounce that word? Thank you. Mixers. And then in the industrial sewer, we've got the industrial manhole and refurbishment 8 through 14. All right, so in the general fund, we've got an increase in our percentage change from 19 to 20 of 5.4%. In the fire department, we've got a 0.9% change between 19 and 20, and so forth. So at the bottom, we have a 3.64% increase from last year overall. Our projected bond levies, and this is based on our profile of existing debt. You can see that our principal and interest on the existing debt issuances are pretty stable until 2022, when we have the drop off and only have the 2010A bond that's left to pay off. And then our existing debt profile, it outlines what debt we have with the $0.375 million on the 2000A bond, and so forth, the 2.04 million on the 2012, which are water, wastewater treatment bonds, the revenue bond, 2012A, 0.265 million, and so forth, and then the 8.66 million on the, or the 6.9, I'm sorry, of the 2016A, which LPI pays that portion. Property values. So residential market values increased 6% from 18 to 19. Commercial and industrial market values decreased 2.74%, which gave us a net tax capacity increase of 0.8%. And so now the tax capacity explanation. So our tax capacity is calculated by multiplying the property market value by the appropriate class rate percentage. So for a residential home, the first $500,000 of value is multiplied by 1%. Values over $500,000 are multiplied by 1.25%. Commercial and industrial, the first $150,000 is multiplied by 1.5%. Values over $150,000 are multiplied by 2%. And the utility property valuations are completed by the Minnesota Department of Revenue. So here's our tax capacity. So last year we had 17,878,630. This year it went down slightly to 17,795,990. So our tax rate projection. So our city tax rate went up 3.9%. So last year we were at 39.137. 2020 is proposed to be 40.715. Our EDA rate went up by 7.9%, so from 0.818 to 0.888%, which gives us a total tax rate of 41.603, which is a 4% increase from last year. And our market value rate was the 2011A, which is complete, so we don't have any of that. The tax percentage rate trend, you can see from, and this includes EDA and the city portion, so we went from 39.955 to 41.603. So for a home, the top half is residential. So if you have like a $250,000 home, your taxes in 2019 would have been $940. This in the upcoming year is $979, so an increase of $39 for the year, which is a 4.1% increase. And for commercial industrial, if you have a building worth $1.5 million, you would see an increase from last year to this year of $470, which is a 4.1% increase. All right, so if there are any questions, budget questions can be directed towards me, and I've got my email address there. And then property value questions can be directed to the county assessor, and there is that information. Otherwise, the Board of Appeal and Equalization meeting is held in April of 2020 in the council chambers for a 2021 property valuation. And of course, the county assessor is in attendance for this meeting and will address valuation questions in more detail. So that is our truth and taxation portion of the meeting. And so now, if you would like to, are there any questions?
Probably not. We've covered this like a gazillion times.
Otherwise, we do have 3 resolutions tonight. The first 2, so final step in the 2020 budget is to pass the resolution setting the levy to be certified to the county. Right now, I have a summary of the overall general government special revenue. Everything that was on here is in your request for council action. More detail can be found in the budget document. Resolution 1973 includes overall revenues and expenditures and the respective levies. Levy must be approved and submitted to Sherburne County by December 28th of 2019. And then in addition, Resolution 1974 is included in the packet, which is for the EDA budget and levy for 2020. Otherwise, a motion and second to approve 1973 for the final budget on 2020 would be appreciated, and also 1974 for the EDA final budget and levy.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 1973, which would be the final budget and levy for the City of Becker for taxes payable 2020.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Troy. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
And I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 1974, which should be to adopt the final levy for the EDA for the City of Becker for taxes payable 2020.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Troy. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Okay, and then the summary information for the enterprise fund budgets was presented and also is included in your packet. An overview of the revenues and expenditures for the enterprise fund is included in Resolution 1975. So a motion and second to adopt Resolution 1975 for the final 2020 budget for the City of Becker. Water, domestic sewer, and industrial funds would be appreciated.
Make a motion that we adopt Resolution 1975, which is the final 2020 budget for the City of Becker water, domestic sewer, and industrial sewer funds.
Second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Troy. Any discussion on that resolution? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you, Connie. Board, committee, and consultant reports. Interim use permit for parcel 60483-0110. Ms. Flipson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The city has received an application for an interim use permit for parcel 60483-0110. So this would be our city-owned BAC, the athletic complex. The interim use permit would allow for the storage of a shipping container for sports equipment to be located there. The Becker Youth Baseball is the owner of the shipping container, but since it's our property, we would be involved in this permit as well. We did host a public hearing on November 25th at the Planning Commission meeting. There was one public comment from a neighbor during the hearing that was in support of the IUP, but there was additional discussion with Planning Commission members on what the adequate length of time would be. The original CUP, or the original IUP that staff drafted had 18 months. Planning Commission is recommending 9 months. And then also just to note, Phil from staff has been working with the youth baseball on this as well. So if there's questions, we're both here. Otherwise, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, staff is recommending a motion and second for resolution 1972.
there's no questions, I make a motion to approve Resolution 1972, the interim use permit.
Second that.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any discussion?
Just like to maybe add a comment about why we, Planning Commission, why we reduced it, or have recommended reducing. So really the discussion centered around, trying to divorce ourselves from the fact that it is, it's the city applying for a city permit. And so we really looked at it from the, tried to look at it through the lens, okay, if this were anybody else, how would we treat this? And so we looked at a discussion, okay, if somebody had a, container and they come to us right now and they said, okay, if we're going to apply for a permit, what would we do? And, would we go 18 months? Probably not. And so that's why, Planning Commission would recommend reducing it. And also, we looked at, there was two factors. Is okay, well, we got winter on our hands, so if somebody were to come to us right now, we probably would have given them over the winter to move it anyway, just because it's probably frozen in the ground by now. The other point of discussion there was, well, what if somebody had the blessing from the city, so to speak, which, we could say here, baseball had the trailer, but they always had, it's not like they put it there and we've been fighting it all along. I mean, they had the blessing of, probably previous staff, but they had that there. So that's where we came to the conclusion, the ask was 18 months. We came in the middle, 9 months. So we looked at it, we're like, okay, that's what we would have given probably anybody else. So that was, I guess, the lens through we looked at it as the discussion. So why we reduced it. I know there was, it did get brought up that, why the ask was 18 months was potentially for, maybe the school could have a project. That did come into the discussion, but it was kind of a what if scenario, and somebody, again, we kept going back to, well, if somebody were to have brought that to us, would it have made a difference? Probably not. So that was how we came to that number.
But to make a long story short, if it would have been somebody else, we would have gone with 9 months probably at this time of year. I know you were concerned about that.
I was, yeah. Thank you. So there's a motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any other further discussion on it? With none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Police Department Squad Car Purchase Request, Chief Balloon.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council. My yearly request, almost my only request I make during the year, coming in front of you, it seems like. So it's been a while. So the request right now is, I have a request for council action and a resolution in front of you in 1976 for a new squad car. This car that we're asking for 2020 will replace squad car number 915, which is a 2015 squad car, so it'll be 5 years since we have been using this particular squad car. It's seen its better day at this point. It's got 112,000 miles on it. Projected by the time we get the new squad car would be probably in excess of 120,000 miles on it. So as you know, number 915 is a smooth top squad car. We will replace it to be the same thing other than a black squad car with the graphics this go around. But that's what we're looking to do. So excuse me, the current state contract is held by 1040 Ford in St. Cloud. And I believe the pricing, I have it here, roughly current pricing for the new 2020, and as you recall, discussion this past year is the change in the model of the squad car and the increase in the pricing of the squad car. So the squad car, because of the new model change, has gone up a minimum of $5,900. So we've accounted for that within the budget, as well as some other equipment changes that'll be made. But base price for the squad car is $31,462. We typically add a few things into that for wiring and some other things with lights and whatnot. And so this year's price, base price that we'll be looking at with 1040 is $32,938. We have budgeted $51,000. Now, people may think that's a lot of money. It is, but what that does for us is there's a lot of things to consider with the price or with what we spend on a squad car. Thinking the 4 or 5 year turnaround on squad cars, that's how long we keep the laptops in the squad cars. And after that length of time, it's time to switch them out because of banging around, and then the updates and upgrades of laptops, that sort of thing. Laptops alone, along with the docking station, are about $4,000 to $5,000 of themselves. Graphics, light replacements if there are any. We are going to have to put a new partition in this particular car because of the model change. It all adds up, you know, so we will probably be right at the front door of $51,000 when all is said and done, so.
Aren't you getting new lights this year, too?
What's that?
Aren't you getting new lights this year?
For this particular squad car, we won't have to.
Oh.
We have internal lights, well, some
I'm
of the
talking about
smaller
the-
lights.
I'm talking about the
but,
outside
we'll-
lights.
We'll be getting a new light bar under some forfeiture funds, but for this particular car, we won't have to since we've got internal lights. That'll be able to be moved right over, thankfully. Those tend to be pretty spendy, as you can imagine, so in any case, before you is the resolution 1976 authorizing myself to enter into a contract with 1040 Ford. Initial price with 1040 not to exceed $33,000 with the budgeted price of $51,000. I'd certainly be willing to answer any other questions if you have any.
Are the days of cars, are they done? I mean, you still see them in some towns, but I mean, is it just something that we're doing with all the lights? What's the
Never say
price?
never. You know, I've heard a lot of different things going back and forth with the changes in the squad cars. I've heard that Ford may bring back a Crown Vic style type car. I hope it's not rear wheel drive. That was tough to deal with. It'll probably be all wheel. You know, and then the other talk has been speed and stuff like that. Well, speed really doesn't matter anymore with squad cars and technology and stuff like that, which are what we've become more concerned about is room for equipment and stuff like that. So we've discovered since we moved over to this type of a squad car in 2012 that they're great in the snow. The Tauruses and stuff that you see out there right now, you get mixed reviews and stuff like that from troopers and some of the deputies. So I think we're looking to stay where we're at with the SUV type vehicle. Pricing is similar anyway at this point, so we're not saving a lot, if any. So I think, you know, just moving forward, I think we really like what we've got with the SUV Explorer.
I believe when we switched over in 2012, it was a hair cheaper to even go away from the cars, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe about $1,500 or something
Yeah.
like that. And they've worked out well since we've switched over. So when we finally did get snow, I think it was like 2013, 2014, then they really showed their true colors. They were great. And since then, it's been a great vehicle. Anything else?
Make a motion, we adopt resolution 1976, purchase of a new squad car for the police department.
Second it.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Snow grooming contract with Sherburne County. Mr. Knutson.
Good evening. Come before you tonight, we're looking to resurrect a contract that we had with Sherburne County that it expired in 2015. We continued doing the work for a few years, pro bono on our part, but so we're looking to bring it back. Basically, the contract is the same proposal. It's a 3-year interval, so it would go through the ski season of April of 2022. The county has reviewed it and has approved the proposal as it sits. So what it does, we do cross-country ski trails throughout Pebble Creek, Local 9, the championship course, and City Park. We also add on to the Oak Savannah, which is the county park. So it gives another opportunity for bigger loops and also another access point so people can park out at the Oak Savannah and access the trails that way as well. So what this season calls for, as you remember, Gina Hugo, their parks coordinator, was here. They are looking to start tomorrow, actually, their restoration project at Oak Savannah. So this contract, if you approve it tonight, it will not be in force until they give us the okay to do the work out there. We thought it would be better to have a contract in place and not use it this year than to need to use it and not have one in place. So one of the changes we made was to increase our rate to $85 an hour for staff time and equipment, and not to exceed $2,500 for the season unless we got prior approval from the county. So it's pretty straightforward. We're excited to do that. It's been a pretty popular use, trail, and service that we provide. So we just like to continue it on with your guys' permission.
Actually saw 2 cross-country skiers out there on Sunday evening on our course, so.
Yeah, they're excited. Like I said, we'll continue to groom all of our stuff while we've got the snow. If this opens up, we're hoping to see sometime end of January, first part of February, that they're done at the Oak Savannah, so we can get in there and groom as well. So,
There's no other questions. I'll make a motion. We allow city staff to enter into an agreement with the Sherburne County for the purpose of grooming the ski trails in Oak Savannah.
Motion from Rick, motion from Troy, second from Rick. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank
Thank
you. Update for Chapter 1 of the City Code, Ms. Bleasy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As we have been doing, staff has reviewed Chapter 1 of the City Code Book. There were some pretty minor changes that we are recommending. Section 1.02 actually updates the definitions of misdemeanor, petty misdemeanor, and crime, which follows state statute for those. And then in Section 1.06, there was just an addition of a missing word inserted into the code. So we'll take any questions. Otherwise, a motion and second to approve ordinance 218 second series, and a motion and second to approve the summary for publication purposes would be appreciated.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes reflected in ordinance 218 second series.
Second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 218 second series summary for publication.
Second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any discussion on that summary? Without, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Administrator and staff reports. Call for a public hearing for consideration of changes to the city fee schedule. Ms. Bleasy.
So as we do at the end of every year, staff brings forth changes to the city's fee schedule for consideration by council. In order to do that, we do need to do it by ordinance and a public hearing. So I'm requesting a call for a public hearing on December 17th at approximately 6 p.m. to consider those changes. If you have any questions, I'll take those. Otherwise, the motion.
Motion, we set public hearing for December 17th at 6 p.m.
Motion from Mike, second from Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2019 Ford F-150 pickup purchase. Mr. Lisson.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Before you tonight, I have an RCA and resolution for the replacement of the 1998 Chevy Lumina with a 2019 Ford F-150 pickup. Just a little background on our Lumina. It's 21 years old, so it served the city well. It's served the city in many functions, so it doesn't owe the city anything. The vehicle has started to have a regular oil leak too, so rather than spending any money on trying to fix that vehicle, we're looking at replacing it. So I did some looking around, some shopping for a replacement vehicle, and I found a Ford F-150 that's similar to the one we purchased in 2018 that our Street and Park lead uses right now. We set aside $40,000 in our Public Works CIP to replace the Lumina this year. So after dealership and manufacturer discounts, the 2019 F-150 I proposed tonight came in at a price of $32,564. If there's any questions about that, I can attempt to answer those right now.
Couple.
Yep.
One was the engine size. I would rather see you go with the bigger engine, but the other, isn't this be tied in with the state contract? So like 1040s?
Well, I didn't go through the state contract in this one, so this one did, but this one does have the fleet pricing through Ford. So that was about $10,000 in discounts, and then also the dealership discounts along with that.
240, I think, is the police.
It's for any vehicle, trucks, whatever equipment the city buys. But this might be, could be a better deal too, you never know, but.
Well, I did look up too, Mike, some things. So the 3.3 liter V6 is the base engine in the 2019 Fords. And then they also have the 2.7 liter EcoBoost, which is what this one would be. They also offer a 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6. They do have a 5 liter V8, but that's not a very common, it's more of an upgraded engine.
Solid one, though.
That's the one that's gonna stand up for you, though. I'm really concerned about the turbo engines. The turbos don't stand up well.
Is this gonna be just in town?
Yep.
Or is it,
Yeah, it's mostly in-town driving. I mean, it could be used to transport people if they have to go to classes or things. They could use it for that as well.
Could be used for towing at all?
No, not very, no. No, we have other vehicles that do those kind of things.
I mean, I'm not opposed to getting it, but I would like to keep track of it to see if we do
Yep.
end up having to spend a lot of money on maintenance on it.
Yeah, I did look at some of that too. I mean, some of the things I found online talk about the replacement can be anywhere between 100,000 and 150,000 miles is roughly when they look at replacement for the turbo in this model. Average replacement cost for a turbo is about $1,200. I said if it's able to be rebuilt, that's roughly $400. So those are some of the prices that could be related to that. They did the Ford F-150, this 2.7 liter EcoBoost. The turbos in there did get good reviews in some of the research that's been done on them so far, so they fully expect you can get long life out of the engine.
what kind of warranty comes with, is it different for the city's warranty than it is a individual? Do you still get the 5-year on the 100,000 or?
it's-
Are you thinking it would be better or worse?
No,
3-year,
a lot of times you don't
36,000
get as good
bumper
of a
bumper,
warranty.
5-year, 60,000 powertrain, 5-year, 60,000 roadside.
Just commercial.
Oh,
so
sorry. Well,
How many miles are on the old vehicle that you've had for 20 years?
175.
Yeah, a little over 175.
So yours is like a little overkill, I think.
Well, it's served the city well.
You realize you could put collector plates on there.
I probably drive a little more than that. I don't know if I could quite qualify, but
4 years.
yeah, it's getting there.
You know what we should do with that car?
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, well, that's been mentioned a time or two already, yes. Yes.
Oh, what do you think? We're not
Are
gonna-
you comfortable with that engine? The stuff that you've looked up, are you comfortable with it, that we're not gonna have issues with it?
Yes.
Okay. I'll go along with it then. Like I said, I'm not a Ford person, so.
You always knew something was wrong with you. Any other questions? I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 1978 for approving the purchase of the 2019 F-150.
I'll second that.
Motion from Troy, second from Mike. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This sounds awful cheap.
I thought that too.
Consent agenda.
Mayor, City Council, consent agenda for December 3rd. Item number 1 is a hiring and termination report from Pebble Creek Golf Club. Item number 2 is a hiring and termination report for Becker Community Center. Item number 3, 2020 tobacco license renewals. Item number 4, declaring property surplus and ordering its disposal, the Lumina that Chris just referenced. Item number 5 is a partial pay request number 3. This is for the 2019 Business Park expansion. This partial pay request in the amount of $1,518,576.02, leaving a construction contract amount of $2.719,935.38. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer those questions. Otherwise, a motion to adopt consent agenda for December 3rd would be appreciated.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Troy. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Payment of the bills.
Motion that we pay the bills.
Second.
Motion from Troy, second from Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anniversary announcements for the month of December. We have 3. Bart over at the Community Center will be celebrating his first anniversary with us. And Tom Gunderson, Officer Tom Gunderson, will be celebrating 3 years with us. And Mark Lehman over at the wastewater treatment facility will be celebrating his first year as well with us. So congratulations to those gentlemen. Besides Bennett, who's looking for a Nintendo Switch for Christmas, does council have anything else for the benefit of Becker? He is not getting one. I told him I'd try. Becky's son asked me to make sure she knew that that's what he wanted for Christmas. That's the betterment of Becker right there. If council has none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn. Second.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned 6:47.